we have a problem. And the best way for me to explain this problem is to bring the League of Legends game into the mix. Now, by a raise of hands, who here has heard of League of Legends? Okay, awesome. We got an awesome crowd. I can rock with you guys. Who here has played it? Okay, maybe not so much. Maybe you've played a similar game, maybe StarCraft, Dota 2. No? Okay, all right, that's good. Oh, okay, not good. Or maybe none of this applies to you, but you've worked with a group of human beings before. Okay, good. Then we all can get along. And you can understand this story. This story took place after an exhausting day at work. One thing that I like to do to help me wind down is play a League of Legends game. And now essentially what League of Legends is a strategy game. And the whole point of the match is to take down the Nexus, which is the enemy base. There are only two ways to win a game. One, you take down the enemy base. Two, you forfeit the match or you surrender. When a team dies or when a player dies, you can respawn, you can come back. It depends on how late in the game it is, and that depends on how long your timer is to come back. So the game doesn't end when you die. I knew this, and so I open up the game and I have a strategy. I have things planned out. And I usually have things planned out, but this time I was in the perfect tunnel vision. When the world around me slips away and the game is all I can see or think about. Okay, so this is me talking to myself. Focus on helping your teammates. Protect the ADC, which is the high damage player in the match, which is a supportive player, like I was tasked with protecting. Oh, and keep an eye on enemy players. And then, out of the corner of my eye, in the in-game map on the side, I see a teammate of mine chasing after another player in enemy territory with no visibility into the enemy area, basically into their jungle. One characteristic of a jungle in real life is that it's dense. You can't see past a certain point. And this is the same for League. You can't see past a certain point. And so he was basically going there blind. And the reason why was because he was strong. He saw one player, he thought, I got it. I'll be fine. Because moments before in the match, he had gotten a lot of kills. And with every kill, it was a risky kill, it was a risky play. But like all of us, when we make a risky play, what happens to us? When we make a risky play and we win, we are like, okay, I got this, I'm good. So we make another risky play and we're fine. And we develop an ego. And this is what happened to him. He developed an ego. So he went after the player. And he died. Classic rookie mistake. We all make them. But I didn't have time for this. This match was important to me. I wanted to win. So I decided to say what all my teammates were saying, but in a much nicer way. I mean, granted, I felt my teammates' frustration, but instead of calling them a mother-loving piece of shirt, I decided to follow my own personal rules, and I wrote a real nice message in chat. I said, yeah, low. That was a bad play, but we really need you in the match. You're one of our strongest players, so let's not do that. It was to no avail. He just kept making one risky play after the other. And instead of each risky play being a risky play, it became a list of rookie mistakes, one after the other. I was beyond frustrated at this point. I wanted to win this match. have to take every single piece of advice that I told him. All he had to do was follow one piece of advice, just a tad bit. You know, because the whole objective of this match is to be an actual contributing player. Enemy double kill. Enemy triple kill. Enemy quadra kill. Enemy pentakill. I looked around and realized that we all had died. The team that I was tasked with protecting had died. And naturally, my team's annoyance, which was first on the rookie mistakes player, shifted to me, and rightfully so. Because I wasn't protecting the team. Because the rookie mistakes player and I were similarly the same. While he was in his own tunnel vision, so was I. Moments before our team died, I was so frustrated with him and his rookie mistakes, I was so distracted by my annoyances with him that I forgot my role in the team. And my team was on the other side of the map, getting killed by enemy players, one after the other. And by the time I got there, it was too late. I couldn't help them. And thus, the rookie mistakes player and I were guilty of the same crime. Because I also lost sight of the goal. The goal wasn't to play perfectly and everyone play on this artificial, even if superior level. The goal was to attack the enemy nexus as a team. The best teams are the ones that allot more energy towards their own individual performance rather than micromanaging someone else's. They offer a helpful perspective when something goes wrong and then go on about the task at hand. In cybersecurity, the end user is in their, while the end user is in their tunnel vision, so are we. We so often focus on our annoyances and frustrations with them that we forget that we are also a part of the problem. We also can make mistakes. The rookie mistakes player wasn't a bad player. They were actually a very capable, very strong player. They just made mistakes. So, what happened to him? We told him what we needed from him as a team. We emphasized that he was vital to the match. And we gave him a game plan using our strength. And we won the game. Yay! Not all games go like this, but some of them do. Similarly, in cybersecurity, the end user isn't a bad player. They're a very strong, very capable player. They just have moments, maybe more moments than we do. But they're still strong and vital. When we're talking to end users, when an incident happens and they trigger an alert, and we're upset for the X amount of time, before you talk to them, have a game plan. Okay, you're frustrated. Take a walk around the campus. Take a deep breath. Tell them what you need from them as a team. We're a part of the team. Every single person in the team is tasked with protecting their allies and protecting their own nexus, their base. Emphasize their vital role. Tell them what you need from them. Say, hey, you know what? This is my job. I'm a security professional. This is why my job exists. And what we need from everyone in the team or in the world, we're going to go that big, is that everyone plays their own role. We're human and we make mistakes and it's okay. But make sure they know that they're a part of the team and you're not leaving them out. You're not making them feel like they're inferior. Fess up to being human too. Be open. No one wants to talk to someone who's a perfectionist. If you did something wrong and someone came to you and was like, yeah, I never make that mistake, but you should never make it, we're not going to feel really good about listening to them. So be open when you're talking to them. I believe our attitude towards end users is doing a disservice to our ultimate goal. Because ultimately, what do we want? A more secure world, a more secure future. But we can't do that if we alienate some of our teammates. We can't do that if we make someone feel inferior. We can't do that if we're distracted by our own annoyances and frustrations with the rookie mistakes play, like I was. And as cheesy as it sounds, we're all a part of a team, fighting for a world where our security, our privacy is taken seriously. And we can't afford to keep toxic mentalities about what an end user is or isn't. We will be frustrated with end users. We will want to curse them out. And we will want to shout and yell, I'm having an ID 10T error over here, idiot, and flip the desk. I'm pretty sure all of you want to flip the desk every day, but we definitely want to flip the desk when someone triggers an alert again. But I'm telling you, you can't, bugger. I'm saying we can't because they're a part of a team. Maybe you don't have the capacity to guide someone. Maybe you're not that person that can walk around the campus, take a deep breath, and then talk to the end user and say, hey, I'm on your side. Maybe that's not you. That doesn't have to be you. Maybe that's me. That's what I like to do. You can pass it on to someone who likes to do it. But if you have to do it, consider your game plan. Consider the end goal. What do you ultimately want? And let's not let our annoyances and frustrations take over us like it did me in the game. When we lose sight of the goal so much that we can't see what's in front of us. The strong and vital player who makes mistakes, who may not know security. I believe it's time that we treat each other like we are all human and part of a bigger team. Let's talk about being human. I'm going to ask you a question, and you don't have to raise your hands for this question, but if you want to, feel free. Have you ever been made to feel like you were inadequate, not smart, or not good enough? I'm going to be vulnerable. Yes, that's me. And if you haven't, then let me be you for a day, because I'm pretty sure that would be nice. Actually, it's not, because then you wouldn't know your strengths. Everybody has someone in their life that has made them feel this way. It could have been a parent, thankfully it wasn't mine, but it could be your parents. It could be your friends, your bosses, your coworkers. How does it make you feel to talk to this person? Do you feel, yay, they came to me for another day to tell me to do another task? I like them. I'm gonna do it. Because they make me feel really inadequate. No, we don't. Because we hate being around them. Because they make us feel like we're stupid. And you know what? They may have never said anything to you about being stupid or inadequate. You may have never heard anything through the grapevine about them thinking you're stupid. But the way that they act towards you makes you know and feel that. You just know they feel like you don't belong. That someone else should be in your place. Because our thoughts affect how we treat people. It affects how we have conversations. It affects our jokes. It affects eye contact. Our micro smiles and micro frowns. They all affect us. And what I'm saying to you is that the way we think about end users affects end users. Because if we feel and we constantly say that they're inadequate, they become inadequate because that's how they feel, whether they know it or not. I'm not saying this is everyone, but I'm saying, look at some of us. One thing that I had to realize while doing security awareness trainings and while talking to coaching clients or creating security awareness training modules is that one thing we have to really understand is that not everyone knows security. And I'm going to go into a few examples of my stories with that. Not everyone knows that. So when you're talking to them or when you're thinking about them or you're talking about them, seek to understand their situation. Sure, have your rants. We need to have our rants. We need to get it out. But when we're in front of them, when we're training ourselves how to speak and how to talk about them, so that when we go to them, we give them the best information, seek to understand their situation. Does their whole job involve clicking on links? There's this lady who her entire job is to click on links and open attachments. And if I go to her and tell her, do you know this person? You shouldn't click on that because you don't know them. Does the email look right to you? It's not going to work for her. Because if she doesn't click it and she doesn't respond to client emails and she doesn't provide amazing customer service, guess what happens? She loses her job. Her mortgage doesn't get paid. Her kids don't eat. So when you say don't click on that link, it goes because mortgage says click on that link. Are they confused with the exact steps to take in certain situations? Maybe they know about security. I've talked to people who are like, yeah, I've heard it on the news. I know Facebook is doing whatever they're doing with privacy, and yeah, I understand that, but what do I do? If I click on a link, what's the next step? Maybe they understand it, but in a certain situation, they don't understand exactly the steps to take, who to call. Maybe they're a person who has a ton on their plate. I talk to a lot of families and small business owners who are like, yeah, security's great. They're mostly concerned about their kids, but God, like I have to worry about rent. I gotta worry about keeping my job. Security's like, that's great, but is it gonna give me money? If it's not, I don't want it. If it's not gonna keep my child safe in the physical sense, I just hope they don't get cyberbullied. Maybe they have no idea what security is and why it matters. I was having this conversation with this small business owner, which is having casual conversation. It was nothing like it was for my business. And I just mentioned what I do. I said, hey, I do cybersecurity coaching. And then she's like, what is cybersecurity? That was the first time someone asked me in that situation, what is cybersecurity? And I'm used to people who know it, but they don't know all of the details in it. So I had to sit there and explain what cybersecurity is, in its essence, what I do, why it matters to her. Maybe they're well aware of what to do and they're distracted. They're you, they're me. And this is one of my favorite Twitter stories. And I got her permission, so don't freak out. And I'm sharing it because I think this is one of the best things I've ever seen on Twitter, hands down. This is Tara. Some of you may know her. She's a white hat hacker. She's a pen tester. She knows security really well. And she says, I just fell for a phishing email on someone else's account they asked me to look at. You never saw me type so fast to change a password. Heart trip hammering in my chest, I got extremely lucky. Next time, maybe not so much. Very disappointing to an otherwise victorious week. What does she do here? She's vulnerable. As someone in her position, she's vulnerable. As someone in her position that often says, oh gosh, these people click on links all the time. I never do that, I'm perfect. I never had something go wrong. When I was playing around with malware, nothing happened. Said no one ever. She admitted it. And this is huge. Because would you or I admit this on Twitter? I don't think so. She goes on to say that she gives context to it. So she was saying it's a personal account on someone's PC. Before anyone freaked out on Twitter, she said it wasn't work-related. And she gave them security steps to integrate into their life. So that next time something happens, or doesn't happen because they have certain things in place, they know what to do. And then she goes into everything that she did to remediate the problem. She changed the passwords across all accounts in case they had multiple passwords, because no one feels like dealing with passwords. I believe that we should all be like Tara. Now, when I asked her to put this up, she said we shouldn't, but we should. That's the whole point of my keynote, but we should. Because we aren't immune, and we make mistakes. I make mistakes. Sometimes that phishing email looks really good. I'm like, really? The package came? Gosh, I've been waiting for a week. Amazon said they canceled it. That was the point of the first story, and this is going to be the point for the second story, that we are human. That's we are human. Okay, yeah, see, I make mistakes. I'm going to ask you a question. And this time, you can definitely raise your hands, I encourage you. Do you think that the thoughts that you have inside of your head could influence how someone moves through space? Do you think that the thoughts that you have inside of your head influence how someone moves through space? And you can internally analyze it or answer it, but I do. We're going to go back to that question. But for right now, I'm going to take another deep dive into a league game and take you along a journey with me. I remember the first time I did terribly on a champion, which is a player-controlled character that I was good at. Granted, it was late at night, and I've been playing more than a few games than I should have. But either way, playing badly doesn't feel good. Remember my personal rule in the beginning, and if you don't, it's fine, where I don't talk badly about my teammates, I don't curse them out. In my head I do, but not on the paper. It probably came from one of these moments. I cannot believe I have another no-brain character or player in my damn match. This comment came after a bad mistake, bad move on my part. I was new to the game, my bad. Shut the full cup. You know damn well you misplayed that. And I have to sit here and deal with your shirt? Bunch of low-level players in my game. I didn't internalize their comments too much. Because I knew that patronizing someone and tearing them down doesn't exactly inspire them to play better. I wasn't inspired, so I muted him. Because even if I felt like I wasn't internalizing it, I was. Because I felt like no matter how many mistakes someone makes, they can be an actual contributing player to the match. Because every time I saw someone do a dumb mistake, I knew they could do better, they could be better. And so I developed high expectations of my teammate. Because I knew that that wasn't the best play they could ever make in their life. They could do better. And so I decided to test out this high expectation mindset in my next game. We were having a great game in this game. I mean, it was like the ending of a Cinderella story. We all met our match, meaning we all did our roles. Everything was moving seamlessly through the game. Nothing can go wrong, right? We had the most strongest player in our match. He just kept getting kill after kill after kill. And he developed a ego. But I saw him chasing after another enemy player. Just one, it's fine, it's good, whatever, I didn't care. He got him, cool, that's whatever. He turns around and another player comes behind him, probably for revenge killing. He gets him too. But his health was a little declining. He was damaged a lot. But I thought, oh, he'll be fine. But then I see him heading towards two other enemy players. So instead of a fight being 1-on-1, it was 2-on-1. And so since I'm the supportive player and I love supporting my teammates, I start heading down there thinking, hey, he might need some help. And before I get there, he gets them. Double kill, okay. That's 4 people out. We're good. And his health was really low this time. And I'm like, he's going to back, obviously. He's going to recall. He's going to retreat. Because he doesn't have enough health, he doesn't have enough strength to go to a next player and kill him. So I back off. And of course, out of the corner of my eye, I see something again. He goes after another player. And it was getting really close. I did not think he was going to win this. I was like, no, this is not happening. This is stupid. And he gets him. Bam! Pentakill. 5 players down. And like a really nice supportive player, I decide to support him. I said, hey, wow! That was amazing! You're so fed! And what fed means in League is that you've gotten a lot of kills. You are strong. I wanted to pump up his ego. You know, I needed to win this game. I needed to eat. But he didn't hear that. He heard you're feeding. And what feeding means in League is that you have been dying a lot. You've been giving another player kills. You're weak. And so for 10 minutes, he ranted. This hole thinks that I fed. Did she even look at my kills? Over and over and over. And he was telling the teammates, the enemy team this, typing in chat to the enemy team, giving the enemy team fuel to the fire. One thing I've never understood is giving an enemy team an advantage over your own team because you're upset with your own team. Why would we do that? Because we're frustrated and we want to rant. Every time you talk to an enemy player about your annoying team, you bring the morale of the team down and of yourself. And you increase the chances of losing the game. My teammates knew this. And so we decided to band together and forget him. Because we didn't need that 5th player who decided to not be a contributing player because he misheard me. I lied. I didn't leave him behind. I didn't leave him behind because I have a really hard time leaving my teammates behind and support a player. So I decided to put in something that I usually do. When I know the match is getting a little sour, but I need to rectify it, I go into Operation Team Bonding. I type, hey, my mistake, sorry, didn't mean that. We really need you in the match. You're really strong, and I thought we could win without you, but we really can't. So if we can just finish this game with your strengths, wink, wink, ego inflated, then we could get over with this. He took a second. Like, okay, whatever, let's get this over with. But I know he was feeling real good about himself. And we won. We won because Operation Team Bonding doesn't leave anybody behind. Because when you leave someone behind, no matter how annoying they are, you leave a teammate behind and you increase the chances of the enemy team winning. Every time we're toxic to our own teammates in cybersecurity, we bring the morale of security and we bring the morale of the end users down. And we give that enemy team a 1 point and us 0. Because guess who capitalizes on someone not caring about security? I told you this story to say that sometimes it doesn't begin right. Sometimes it can go wrong. But we can rectify it. In our security industry, every time we're toxic to an end user or speak about them as if they're dumb, even when they are hearing you, we bring the morale down. Because remember my question in the beginning? I'm not going to finish that. We're going to go back to that in the end. We increase the chances of being stuck in the same place we're complaining about. I want the end users to know that I am on their side. Just like I'm on the side of my teammates when they do something dumb. Now, okay, I'm not perfect. I'm not always on their side, and sometimes I want to forfeit the match. But at the end of the game, at the end of the day, the goal is what matters. Because our expectations of ourselves as security professionals and others outside of the field is off. Way off. We expect no one to make a mistake while securing for them. I want us to raise our expectations of the end user. So now, remember my question in the beginning? Do you think that the thoughts that you have inside of your head could influence how someone moves through space? Had I thought that player was stupid and capable and I'm not wasting my time, guess what? I would have lost more matches than I do now. Because every player has some high potential. Even if they're a low potential player, they can do something exponential. Even if they're a bronze level player and we're in a plat or diamond match, they can do something. Maybe not as good as someone else, but they can help us win. They can stand here, they can stand here, they cannot do this, they cannot do that. We have all had someone, like I said in the beginning, who has made us feel like we were inadequate. When we think someone is stupid and users, we treat them as such. We don't give them the resources and the guidance that they need because they're stupid. What can they learn? Some professions, some roles require us to be more cognizant of these micro realities than others. When you're a teacher, it matters. Because it affects how people grow up thinking about math and science and literature. So many people hate it, I know I did. It affects how people think of their IQ and they think it defines them for their whole entire life. That they think they're stupid and they can't overcome that. It affects our doctors because it affects how they treat their patients, the treatment that they get, how they get it, and when they get it. It affects us as security professionals because it affects our strongest defense, humans. Think about our responsibility to protect information and help others protect theirs. It's our responsibility. And we're going to get annoyed because I'm sure the teachers don't like your kids. But they got to do it anyways. Because they got a passion for it. Because we all have a passion for it. That's why we're here spending our Friday here. Because we have a passion about it. And you don't have to want to work with end users like I do. But at least give them the time of day to be human. To be you. To be imperfectly perfect and still intelligent and capable. Our micro-negatives, our dumb and stupid, translates how we write articles about them. And when we write articles about them, everyone who comes in the field has the same way about them, feels the same way about end users, even if they haven't dealt with them. Someone comes across an article, if I came across an article that a doctor wrote about some dumb patients that don't take the advice about eating 1 apple a day, I'd be annoyed because I'm allergic to apples. Because they don't understand my situation. When we speak to them like this, when we write about them like this, all we see is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Garbage in, garbage out. Sure, I'm not saying that we don't have a problem. I'm saying we have a problem, but we aren't going about it the correct way. We've tried for years in this way, and I believe it's time to shift our perspective on it. Instead of the end users or someone outside of security being the enemy team, I want them to be our team. Our team that's human, our team that makes a mistake. Because I'm sure someone in some important profession or role thinks that we're stupid. Because maybe you haven't had salad today, or you've been eating too many French fries, or you haven't driven the car correctly, or you didn't change the oil when you should have. But it's not stupidity they see. It's not stupidity I see. It's just a blind spot. Like the blind spots when we're driving our car. But we have to check. What if, when you're learning how to drive, no one told you about those damn blind spots? And there were just accidents everywhere, and everyone's like, oh my God, what's happening? I don't know why there's so many accidents. What if we told people about the blind spots, but they didn't listen? But then we treated them like they were inadequate and dumb and stupid because they didn't. Do you ever listen to every single thing someone tells you to do? Our job, like other professionals' job, is to make people aware of those blind spots. Our job is not to dehumanize, but to guide. Because when we dehumanize, we rob ourselves of our own goals. Safer streets, safer web. Whoever said yes to the other question, you're correct. Because our inner thoughts can influence how someone moves through space. I'm going to read some quotes from research studies about this. Teacher expectations produce self-fulfilling prophecies in students' performance. High teacher expectations result in students' high academic performance, and low teacher expectations result in students' lower academic performance. That's another study. The finding that people adjust up and down to expectations is important because through their behavior, bosses communicate expectations as well as influencing the self-expectations of subordinates. This was the point of my talk. This is why I brought gaming in, because it taught me so much, and I believe it can teach us a lot. Because you can use a little fun analogy and take it into something that's a little more serious. We have a problem. I want to leave you with a question today. What could you do to positively impact how someone feels about cybersecurity? Thank you.